Yeah, he did Cam dirty on one of them beats, right? The H to the Izzo beat. He told Cam that he was gonna give it to him, but he gave it to Jay.
Well, at that point, you couldn't do. He couldn't. It wasn't him. He couldn't do nothing. He couldn't tell. Well, he was going to tell Jay no. What are you going to tell Jay? No, I got to give this beat to Cam. How was that going to work out for him? You heard? When Jay is the boss at that time, we was signed to Rockefeller Records. You heard? And Cam, notably, just noted that he had a beat that was supposed to be Jay beat. Jay paid him back.
Was Cam heated over that, yo?
Oh, 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 yeah, very hot. He was very hot. Hopefully he'd tell somebody in his interviews how upset he really was, because I was there in the house with him when we was watching the BET Awards. I remember the whole play.
I got something crazy for y'all today. Something you might not know happened behind the scenes. Trust me, if you're a fan of Jay-Z, Cameron, or just the real stories that go down in the industry, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Now, we've all seen the glitz and glamour of the BET Awards, right? The performances, the big moments, and the legendary appearances. But what if I told you there was some serious beef brewing behind the curtains? And no, we're not talking about the kind of beef you hear about in the tabloids. We're about to break down a story that's been flying under the radar for a long time. You've heard about the hit records, but there's a whole other side to this tale. And it involves one of the most heated moments in hip-hop history, when Jay-Z literally snatched a beat away from Cameron and took it to the BET stage. Yeah, y'all heard that right. Cameron's beat, one that was supposed to be a big moment for him, was taken right under his nose and performed live by none other than Jay-Z. But here's the kicker. Cameron was heated. Like, imagine putting all your energy into a song that you think is going to be your next big hit, only to see the biggest artist in the game at the time rocket it on national television before you even get a chance to drop it. Yeah, that's got a sting right there. And you know Jim Jones, he's never shy to speak his mind. In this video, Jim Jones gonna take us behind the scenes and give us the real story of what went down that night. He was there when it all went down, so you'll hear firsthand how heated Cameron really was. It wasn't just about the beat. It was about respect, business, and a whole lot of drama that you probably didn't even know about. Was Jay-Z in the wrong for taking the beat? How did Cam react when he saw Jay perform his track at the BET Awards? And what was Jim Jones' take on the whole situation? We're about to break this all the way down, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. Now, I'm about to play this clip for y'all, but before I do, I just need you to like, leave your thoughts down below in the comment section, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
You and Kanye good, right?
No, I want my fucking chain back, Kanye. Yeah, shouts to Ye, man. I ain't the Kanye is Kanye, bro. What the could you say about Kanye? You can't even really curse the nigga out. Like, it don't work. Like, what could you say? Like, it's Kanye. You heard? Because what you gonna do? He pop up on you, might knock on your door. What you gonna do? It's Kanye. Like, this the shouts to Ye, man. I want my chain back, though. I need that.
Hey, yo, I want to go back to Rockefeller, though, right? I heard that back then they wasn't taking him serious when it came to rapping.
Nah, they wasn't taking him serious. That was Dame and Biggs that was taking him serious, especially when it came to the rap, as him as being an artist and things like that. But he sat there and he used to go, as y'all seen the movie and shit like that. I was there during them times. He would come in every office and rap mad different records and shit like that. And know those were beats that he was trying to sell. He also was trying to sell himself and shit like that. And at that time, it was kind of taboo for a producer to be like he's rapping, because you got real rappers looking at you like, because producers were usually corny and nerdy, you heard? So now you got the rappers looking at the producers like, and lo and behold, I guess he proved everybody wrong. And he rubbed it in their face too. Don't get this twisted. The beats were being sold, but as an artist, nobody was taking him serious. You heard? Even with him doing his auditions every day. And then he got in that accident and ended up making this song, and that whole genius of him rapping while his teeth was white and shit like that, that's what really took him off, and I watched everybody do a U-turn and start really paying attention to him as an artist in the building.
But speaking of beats, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he did Cam dirty on one of them beats, right? The H to the Izzo beat. He told Cam that he was gonna give it to him, but he gave it to Jay.
Well, at that point, you couldn't do. He couldn't. It wasn't him. He couldn't do nothing. He couldn't tell. What he was going to tell Jay no. What are you going to tell Jay no? I got to give this beat to Cam. How was that going to work out for him? You heard? When Jay is the boss at that time, we was signed to Rockefeller Records. You heard? And Cam, notably, just noted that he had a beat that was supposed to be Jay beat. Jay paid him back. You heard? Let me get this H to the Izzo. You heard? We be no chicken rings, no fried rice, no nothing. I need this H to the Izzo. Bird.
Was Cam heated over that, yo?
Oh. Yeah, very hot. He was very hot. Hopefully he'd tell somebody in his interviews how upset he really was, because I was there in the house with him when we was watching the BET Awards. I remember the whole play. That was definitely a record that he was about to use as his first single for his new album.
I can only imagine how that was, man. I know he had to be heated. And you thinking the beat is yours, and you watching the award show, and you see Jay rapping over the beat.
Woo! Woo! And we in the house watching this shit. We not even there. You heard? Like, woo! We not even in the event. That shit, but shit happens for a reason. That didn't stop that didn't stop nothing at that time, though. We was so on fire that not saying it didn't matter, but everything else happened too with all the other dope records that he had. Like, remember, Cam is a multi-platinum artist, what people tend to forget and shit like that during his day and shit like that. And he put his numbers up and shit like that. So there's nothing nobody could really do with us when it came to music. Niggas was slapping shit out the park.
Man, after hearing all that, I gotta say, this situation between Jay-Z, Cameron, and that beat is honestly crazy. But at the same time, it's a perfect example of how things really go down behind the scenes in the music industry. There's a lot of history between these guys, and I think a lot of people forget how competitive the game really is. Now, first off, we all know Jay-Z's an absolute legend, right? No one can ever take that away from him. He's got the skills, the drive, the vision, and he's earned every single thing he got. But when I hear stories like this, I also can't help but think about what the pressure must have been like for somebody like Cameron. Imagine working that hard on a track you think it's going to be it, only for somebody way more powerful in the game to come in and take it for themselves. That's gotta hurt. Cameron's a beast in his own right, and he's one of the most underappreciated artists in the game. But what I love about this situation is that it shows just how resilient people can be, especially when they're passionate about what they do. Cameron didn't just fold after that. He kept pushing. He kept making his music, and he kept putting his stamp on the game, regardless of what went down with that beat. And that's a huge part of his legacy. At the end of the day, the real takeaway for me is that things aren't always as simple as they seem. We've got all these artists, all these personalities, and all competing for the same moment. And sometimes things can get real messy. I respect both Jay-Z and Cameron for handling it the way they did, each in their own right. Jay saw the potential in that beat, and Cameron, well, he took it personally, as anybody would. It's that human element of competition that makes hip-hop so interesting and so real. It's all about ego, respect, and vision. But let's not forget, this isn't just about one beat or one moment in time. It's about the legacy that these artists built and the influence they've had in the game. They've shaped entire generations of listeners and artists, and that's what really matters. Now, what happened to that beat? Sure, it's a cool story, but the bigger picture is the art they've created and the impact they've had on the culture. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this story down below in the comment section, and make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.